When you talk about the scariest characters you might have ever seen in your life, you might mention many. You could say, for example, Voldemort, or maybe any monster or terrifying creature you've seen in any movie. But for me, there is one character I saw in a film who is way scarier than all of that. Like, seriously terrifying. Every time she appeared on screen, I would get anxious. She literally made me sweat from fear. That character represents the true embodiment of evil, if evil were to take human form. I'm talking about Anton Chigurh from the film No Country for Old Men. Now, No Country for Old Men is one of the best films you will ever watch in your life. So, you absolutely must see it before you continue watching this video, because we're going to dig into the character of Anton and analyze the entire film with full spoilers. And we'll explain why this character is the scariest you will ever witness on screen. The film starts with the sunrise in Texas. There's a man speaking in the background. He's one of the main characters in the film, Sheriff Ed Tom Bell. He tells a story about how times have changed for lawmen in that area. He says his father and grandfather were also sheriffs in the same district. In the past, he says, sheriffs didn't even carry guns. And now, he always finds himself comparing his generation to the older men of the past. He concludes that he no longer understands the world we live in today, with all the chaos and change. That's when we shift to the villain of the film, Anton Chigger. We first see him being arrested by a police officer and placed in the car. Then he's taken to the police station, and there, he does something horrifying, perhaps the worst thing he's ever done in his life. The officer leaves him unattended, talking on the phone. Anton approaches him very quietly and begins to strangle him. The expressions on his face during the act are so disturbing that you might want to shut off the film and go to sleep instead. After he kills the officer, he calmly washes his hands, grabs his strange weapon, we'll talk more about that later, and steals the police car. He then stops a random civilian. He's carrying an oxygen tank with a tube connected to it. He walks up to the man and tells him to step out of the car. The man asks, "Why? What did I do?" Look at Anton's face. If I saw someone with an expression like that, I'd drive away straight to the Mexican border out of pure fear. Anton gently places the device on the man's head and blows his brains out. That weapon he uses is actually one that farmers use to kill livestock. Goats, sheep, quickly and efficiently. This tells you two terrifying things. First, he doesn't care about anything, not even enough to use a conventional weapon. Second, he sees human beings as no different from sheep or goats. There's no emotional impact on him when he kills someone. Now we switch to our protagonist, Lulen Moss. Moss is out in the desert hunting deer. When he finds the one he shot, he notices a limping dog walking in the distance. He follows it and finds some abandoned vehicles in the middle of the desert. It turns out to be a drug deal gone wrong. Everyone killed each other, but Moss finds one surviving man who begs him for water. Unfortunately, Moss has none. Moss then searches for money, assuming the last man to survive must have escaped with it and is hiding. Sure enough, he finds a man sitting under a tree, but instead of approaching him immediately, Moss waits like a skilled hunter until he's sure the man is dead. Then he moves in and finds a briefcase with $2 million. Strangely, Moss doesn't smile. He gets upset, and that's odd, right? But it makes sense because he knows taking that money will bring consequences, serious ones. Still, he takes it and leaves. In the next shot, there's a storm behind him, symbolizing that this was a bad decision. Back to Anton Chigger. His mission is to find Moss, but we don't really know who sent him or who he works for. You get the sense that he represents death itself. He sees himself as the law of nature, the executor of justice, but his justice is twisted. He follows rules he created himself. He decides what's right and what's wrong. Throughout the film, you see that he's operating under a strict personal code. Back to Moss. He goes to his wife with the money. You learn he's just a man trying to use the money to give his wife and himself a better life. He sends her to her mother's house for protection and checks into a hotel where he hides the briefcase. Meanwhile, Anton interrogates some criminals at the crime scene, learns about the tracking device inside the money bag, and then kills them once they give him what he needs. The sheriff visits the same crime scene, but nobody really pays attention to him. It's like he's always one step too late. He even says it himself. He's scared of confronting crimes of this magnitude. He reminisces about the past and how things used to be simpler. Anton finally arrives at Moss's hotel room and finds the air vent where the briefcase was hidden, but it's gone. Moss had already escaped and moved to another hotel, hiding the briefcase between two rooms. Anton follows the tracker, gets to the hotel, studies the room layout, and returns at night. He uses his cattle gun to quietly blow open the lock, and then uses a silenced shotgun to kill 3 criminals inside. Anton calmly removes his shoes, checks the air vent, but the bag is gone. He finds signs that it was just there and realizes Moss took it. Moss checks into a new hotel and pays the clerk to alert him if anyone suspicious arrives, but it's too late. Anton tracks him down using the signal. A shootout follows, and both get injured. Moss escapes to Mexico despite being shot. He hides the bag and is taken to the hospital after paying some street musicians to help him. Anton, badly wounded too, sets a car on fire to distract people so he can sneak into a pharmacy and steal supplies to treat himself. He performs surgery on his own leg like it's nothing. Back to the sheriff, always late, always reflecting on the past. You sense he's scared. Then, Moss meets a man named Carson Wells, a bounty hunter sent to retrieve the money. Carson tries to convince Moss to give up the cash in exchange for protection from Anton. But Anton eventually finds and kills Carson too, coldly and without hesitation. Anton calls Moss and offers him a deal. Give up the money and he won't kill Moss's wife. But Moss refuses, saying he'll kill Anton first. Moss arranges to meet his wife to give her the money and escape together. Unfortunately, the cartel finds out his location through her mother and kills Moss before the meeting happens. When the sheriff arrives, he finds the aftermath. Dead bodies, but no money. Anton had already come, taken the money, and disappeared through the air vent before the sheriff got there. The sheriff then visits his uncle Ellis, a retired lawman, and tells him he wants to retire too. He can't keep up with this violent world. His uncle tells him the world has always been violent, shares a story about a sheriff who was murdered in broad daylight, and reminds him that evil has always existed. We cut to Moss's wife, who just buried her mother. She enters her room to find death itself, Anton, waiting for her. He offers her the coin toss, but she refuses, saying, "You make the choice, not the coin." The scene cuts, implying he killed her. As he walks out, he checks his shoes, just like he always does after killing. Moments later, he's suddenly hit by a car. His arm bone is sticking out. This is the first time we see that. Even though he represents death, he's still human, vulnerable to accidents, to randomness. He gets help from two boys who give him a shirt to wrap his arm and then walks away. And that's the end. If you've watched the film, let me know your interpretation of the dreams at the end, and your thoughts on all the strange and symbolic events in this masterpiece. That was our video for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.